Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Science Love. Today we're going to be going over ratios and proportions. Today we're going to be covering sharing proportions, right? With that being the case, let's go ahead and get started. So Frank and Tom together own 720 acres. If the ratio is 3 to 5, how many acres does each own, right? So in order for us to do this, we need to understand which portion is equal to 1, essentially, so that we can know what the 3 to 5 even means, right? So as I told you guys before, when it comes to ratios, you need to make them all on the same side, on the upper side and the bottom side. So the categories that we're going to use are, we're going to use ratio as the top end, and we're going to use acres as the bottom end, right? So it should look like this, setting it up. And I say it every time, but I encourage you to write down the categories that you're going to use every single time. It really helps with organization to make sure that you're putting things in the right spot. Because if I put a ratio here, and then I put the ratio here, and I put an acre here and an acre here, I just did it entirely incorrectly, right? You need to stay in this exact same categories. It should look like this, right? And if you do anything other than that, then you're doing it wrong, and you're going to get the wrong answer, right? So with that being the case, let's get started on this. So we know the total acreage is 720, right? We also know that the ratio is 8. 3 plus 5 equals 8, right? With that being the case, X, not right there. With that being the case, we're trying to find out what the 1 value is, right? So finally, we're going to put X for the acre, right? Now that we have this, you can reduce this. However, let's just skip that this time so that I can just get straight into it, right? So what it's going to end up equaling is 8x equals 720, right? Now that I see it's 8x equals 720, we're going to do the opposite of the multiplication because that's what we have to do. So it's going to be 8 divided by 8, that's going to cancel each other out. And that's going to be 8 divided by 720, right? So let's go ahead and do that real quick. 8 goes into 72 9 times. Bring down the 0. 8 can't go into 0, so your answer is 90. So we know that in the ratio, 1 part of 8 is equal to 90. We know that Frank owns 3. We know that Tom owns 5. So all we got to do is do 3 times 90 and 5 times 90, right? So that means Frank will end up owning 270, and that means Tom will end up owning 450, right? And that's how we're using sharing proportions in order to get the answer.